We have breaking news in former President Donald Trump's election interference case in Georgia. Fulton County DA Fani Willis has just filed a response to those accusations that she and her lead special prosecutor have been engaged in an improper relationship and mishandled public money. NBC's Blaine Alexander is reporting from the courthouse in Atlanta. Also with us, Christy Greenberg, a former federal prosecutor. Blaine, what exactly did Willis have to say in this response that we have been waiting to hear?
We have been waiting a long time to hear this, Chris, and I've got to say that I'm still making my way through this. We're talking about 176 pages. That's how long the response is. That includes a number of exhibits. I just got it just a few minutes ago. But we do know that just as I'm kind of thumbing through here, I'm looking at some of the exhibits, and they include things that kind of point to the accolades of Nathan Wade, for instance, some of his credentials. We also see a couple of receipts in here. I also see what appears to be some of the notes that we know that she's received, some of the hate mail, some of the threatening words with racist language in it. All of that is attached as exhibits. And so all of this really kind of points to the fact, though, that Fani Willis is mounting what we expect it to be, and what we now see is a very strong pushback and a very vigorous defense of these allegations against her. Remember, they've been hanging out there for 3 weeks now, saying that she financially benefited from hiring Nathan Wade as her lead special prosecutor, that the two are having a romantic relationship. And so what has been filed today, and remember, this is the deadline, the court-ordered final day for her to respond. It seems that she really put a lot of effort into pushing back against these claims. We do know, again, that she spoke out about this indirectly during a Martin Luther King Day ceremony, defending Nathan Wade, and it appears that she is continuing to do some of that here. I'm looking through, I'm seeing screenshots of Facebook posts, but certainly a strong defense as we may kind of make our way through this filing, Chris.
All right, Christy, I am getting from, fortunately, some people who have not had to go on the air immediately, some summaries of things that they've looked through. Let me give you a little bit of a sense of some of the things that Fani Willis said. She said there's no financial conflict of interest. And to set this up for folks, the accusation, part of the accusation against her was that she hired someone with whom she was having a romantic relationship, that he received hundreds of thousands of dollars. He was paid to be the special prosecutor in this case, and that they took vacations together. They stayed in hotels potentially together, that they both received some financial benefit from this. DA Willis says she had no financial conflict of interest, no personal conflict of interest, but adds that justifies her disqualification personally or that of Fulton County District Attorney, the Fulton County District Attorney's office, and that the attacks on Special Prosecutor Wade's qualifications are factually inaccurate, unsupported, and malicious. At least what I'm reading here does not directly say there is no relationship. What she's saying is it did not create a personal conflict of interest, nor does it speak to the fact that she believes that he is qualified to hold this position. Is that what you hear from what I'm reading?
So I have not had the opportunity to look at this filing yet, but what I will be looking for, look, I'm not surprised that she would make the argument that she should not be disqualified, even if there were a personal relationship. It's not clear that would merit her disqualification, so I'm not surprised she's taking that position, nor would it at all mean the dismissal of the indictment. Any personal relationship that she was having has nothing to do with the merit of the charges themselves. So again, not surprising she's taking a strong view of that. The one thing when I do read the submission that I am going to be looking for is I'd like to better understand when she says that the attacks on Special Prosecutors Wade's qualifications are factually inaccurate and unsupported. As I understand it, the allegations are that he has scant, if any, experience prosecuting major cases, major felony cases. That seems to be undisputed based on reporting beyond what has been alleged by one of the defendants in this case. So again, it's not clear to me how he would be qualified to be the lead prosecutor on what is certainly the biggest case that has ever come out of that district attorney's office if he's never prosecuted a major felony case before. So that is what I'm going to be looking for as I review her submission.